her master, her father. To her husband, her brother. His handmaid, his daughter, his spouse, his sister. To Abelard, from Heloise. A letter of consolation you had written to a friend, my dearest Abelard, was lately, as by chance, put into my hands. The superscription in a moment told me from whom it had come, and the sentiments I felt for the writer compelled me to read it more eagerly. I had lost the reality. I hoped, therefore, from his words, a faint image of himself, to draw some comfort. But alas, for I well remember it, almost every line was marked with gall and wormwood. It related the lamentable story of our conversion and the long list of our own unabated sufferings. Indeed, you amply fulfilled the promise you there made to your friend that, in comparison to our own, his misfortunes should appear as nothing, or as light as air. Having exposed the persecutions you had suffered, and the cruel deed of my uncle, there was, in the city of Paris, a certain young maiden by the name of Heloise, the niece of Fulbert, the canon. Seeing in her all those things which are wont to attract lovers, I thought it suitable to join her with myself in love. So, being wholly inflamed with love for this girl, I sought an opportunity whereby I might make her familiar with me in intimate and daily conversation, and so the more easily lead her to consent. With which object in view, I came to terms with the uncle of the girl, that he should take me into his house, believing that his niece would gain something from my teaching. He acceded to my wishes farther than I might presume to hope, and served the purpose of my love, committing her wholly to my mastership, that as often as I returned from my school, whether by day or by night, I might devote my leisure to her instruction, and if I found her idle, vehemently chastise her. For in giving her to me not only to be taught, but to be chastised, what else was he doing than giving every license to my desires, and providing an opportunity whereby, if I could not move her by blandishments, I might the more easily bend her by threats and blows. So, under the pretext of discipline, we abandoned ourselves utterly to love, and those secret retreats which love demands, the study of our texts afforded us. And so our books lying open before us, more words of love rose to our lips than of literature. Kisses were more frequent than speech. Oftener went our hands to each other's bosom than to the pages. That we might be less suspected, blows were given at times by love, not by anger. Affection, not indignation, which surpassed all ointments in their sweetness. What more shall I say? No expression of love was omitted by our cupidity. What was the uncle's grief at this discovery? What was the grief of the lovers themselves at their parting? What blushing and confusion for me? Not long after this, the girl found she had conceived. And so on a certain night, her uncle being absent as we had planned together, I took her by stealth from her uncle's house and carried her to my own country without delay, where, in my sister's house, she stayed until she was delivered of a son whom she named Astrolabe. And so, commending our infant son to my sister, we returned privily to Paris. And a few days later, at the point of dawn, we were plighted together by the nuptial benediction. It was my intent our marriage should be kept secret, and therefore Heloise retired among the nuns of Argenteuil. I now thought Fulbert's anger disarmed. I lived in peace, but alas, our marriage proved but a weak defense against his revenge. To what barbarity he pursued it! He bribed my servants, and an assassin came into my bedchamber by night with a razor in his hand, punished me with a most cruel and shameful vengeance, amputating those parts of my body wherewith I had committed that of which they complained. Without losing my life, I lost my